Well, he's back, y'all. He is the co-founder of Enjoy Basketball, host of Small Ball Podcast. Kenny Beecham, with his amazing background, returns to the show. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. Hope everybody's doing good. I'm excited to talk some hoops.
I know. It's funny that we ease in with. Yeah, why do you look different? Is your hair like
different?
Oh, I cut my hair. I don't know. Did I cut my hair last time we talked? I used
That's what it is.
The twist, and now I faded it, so a little different.
It makes you look even younger.
Yeah.
No, don't say that. Don't say that. Oh man.
That's a good.
I don't like that.
About. You don't like them to look young? Oh, honey, you're gonna want that one day. Trust me.
Got a little bullet yesterday myself.
Yeah, we know, Chandler. You reek of Florida through and through.
White trash roots.
Okay, we got to get to sort of the one-on-one thing. I'm pretty excited to hear from you on, because it seems to be picking up some steam. It seems to be getting actual positive feedback from players that are currently in the league, including Kyrie Irving, who said he's in. The $1 million probably doesn't hurt, Kenny. What do you think about the idea of adding that to All-Star Weekend?
I love it. I mean, it's what the fans have been asking for a very long time, and we just saw Unrivaled do it, and it was phenomenal. Like, I didn't get to watch many of the 3-on-3 games, but when I saw 1-on-1 on the schedule, I was locked in. So, like, my favorite player, Nafisa Collier, was out there hooping, and I'm like, I need to see her go against other great players. So, if we can get the players interested, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the event is. If the players are interested, it will be fun, and the Ones tournament is a beautiful idea.
That is the thing. If the players are in, it's going to be infectious. Like, we're all going to be excited to see it. And I'm telling you, they seem to be in so far. Give me a few people that you need to see enter this contest.
So one thing that I saw in Unrivaled that I hope that gets adjusted by the NBA is that we did get so many games where it was a big versus a small, and usually the big just ended up winning. So I'm hoping that there's different brackets. So maybe it's like a 6'4" and under, then a 6'5" to 6'8", and then a 6'9" over. And if we're going for that smaller group, you're gonna have Kyrie Irving, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson. Those dudes are gonna win their ones. And then the middle group, the wings, I would say like SGA, even though he's a guard, he's 6'6", he's gonna kill it. I'm kind of interested in the guy like I talked to Spencer Dinwiddie. I know he's not an all-star, but he swears he's the best Ones player of all time. So like I kind of like the idea of like some role players getting in there and running it. So maybe I'll go with Dinwiddie too.
Don't separate it.
Give me Cam.
You don't want to
Thomas.
separate them.
No, don't separate it, because that's where the trash talk comes in. You always got Chandler will tell you in the locker room, you always got smalls talking trash to bigs. You always got bigs talking trash to smalls. You got all the mid-range guys in the middies talking trash to everybody. No, let's get this thing, let's get some straightening right now. Everybody, every man for itself. It don't matter. You only get 2 to 3 dribbles anyway. However you use them is how you use them.
Well, Lou, would you want to break it down ever and then everyone meets for a championship, or never break it down?
No,
okay.
This is basketball. We don't need weight classes in basketball. Listen, if Cat is gonna run around and say he's the best shooting big of all time, prove it when you got me right up under you and you got 3 dribbles to get to the rim. Are you gonna use that jump shot that you say you got, or are you gonna use your 3 dribbles to try to bully? That's when you start playing basketball. That's when you start to weeding it out. I love that.
I mean, see, even Lou's excited. Just talking.
And even Kenny, we had Drew Holiday on the show, and he said that Peyton Pritchard is their best Ones player on the Celtics. So you hear things like that, and you're like, all right, let's get him in there. Like, even though you're probably not going to be in the All-Star game like that, like that would be fun to watch and more entertaining than the game. But let's talk about the dunk contest. Matt McClung, 3-piece. Some people feel like Castle maybe could have won it because the whole prop situation. Now, what's your take on that? Like, do props hurt your score of a dunk? Do they help? Are they needed because everything's been done?
Honestly, I think it's that last point. So many things have been done that even Stephon Castle gave us some great dunks. They weren't stuff that we've never seen before, right? So, like, I think that props are super important. Now, I don't want it to be for every single dunk a person does, but, like, dunking over a car, cool. Dunking over a 7-footer who's standing on top of something, cool. I'm not one of those people that's going to be complaining a ton. We haven't had a competitive last round in the dunk contest in some time, and I thought Stephon Castle brought his A game, so it made it interesting. And at the end of the day, that's all we're really asking for, right? We just want it to be not a landslide for one person.
So answer me this. You see Wemby right there behind him in the orange shirt. If he pulled him out and he jumped over Wemby on one of these dunks, does he get the nod to win this, or still Max?
I'm just gonna assume Wemby told him no. Like, if you have a teammate in Stephon Castle in the dunk contest and you need somebody to jump over, there's no way Stephon Castle didn't ask Wemby if he was down, right? And I just think Wemby was like, "No, I'm good. I'm also the tallest person here. So if I get clipped and I'm also the franchise and maybe the face of the NBA, I can't get hit in the head. So I'm just gonna say no."
Yeah, he's
but
not
I feel like they work together because if you notice, Wemby's sort of like acting out the dunk as Steph's doing it. Like, it's like they work together. I think it's just an injury thing. I really believe that. Like, who's jumping over Wemby? Like, that's insane to me.
Yeah, it's too tough.
But it would be great TV. And along those lines, Ja Morant alluded to getting involved. He said maybe I should join. And then after that, he kind of started recruiting. You know, Aaron Gordon got involved. Zach LaVine got involved. Obviously, you got to have Matt McClung involved. It's his dunk contest, and it's his championship to defend 3 years in a row anyways. With those 4 guys, if you had that lineup, does that give us a great opportunity to bring it back?
Yeah, but I'm not buying it, man. These dudes talk every single year. And they always just say, I want to come back. And then nobody ever signs up. And then we end up with, shout out to my boy Modest Buzelis, but a rookie who averaging, 4 points per game on the season. I'm hyped, sure. But I'm not going to get too hyped until they write their name and say that I'm in. They need to do that right now for anybody to really care, honestly.
Right, because otherwise it's 2 months before, basically, and that's a forever from now, and they have so much time. I'm with you on that. It just feels like a tease, like a really like Charlie Brown and Lucy in the football. Like, I don't like it. We've fallen for it before. I'm not doing it. The big criticism, Draymond was probably the loudest. He had the microphone and he was on the network carrying it, but it was the whole idea of the rising stars playing on a Sunday, and he basically referred to the fact that they don't deserve the privilege to play on a Sunday. First, what did you make of that part of the setup?
It was okay, I guess. I mean, I did think it was weird that we had a lot of first-time All-Stars like Jalen Williams and Kay Cunningham and Evan Mobley play like 6 total minutes at All-Star Weekend. It feels like a rush of a thing because you're doing all the media, you're doing all the appearances, and just to get 6 minutes of play so Zach Edey can play for 12 feels weird to me. I think this format helps. It could be cooler if we had, no disrespect to the team that made it, if we had a Rising Stars team with guys that we believe are going to be superstars, right? Like 2 years ago, if Paolo Banchero rookie season, he was on a Rising Stars team, you're like, oh my God, Paolo Banchero versus Kevin Durant. That's pretty cool. But if you look at that roster, they have some guys, Stephon Castle was on there, Dalton Connect, it's some real hoopers out there, but we don't look at those dudes as like the next face of the NBA. So it does feel weird. They did give us a game, but nobody was really thinking that they were going to beat Steph Curry, you know? So I would much rather have it that the real All-Stars play. So I understand where Draymond's coming from.
Yeah. What about the idea of the snubs? And Damian Lillard liked it as well. And granted, we can rename it. It does need some branding, but the snubs, basically, you didn't make it. You make a squad of them. They'd be highly motivated. Would you rather see that?
I would point to Chandler and Lou here. Would you take that as kind of like disrespect? I didn't make the actual game. I'm the next guy's up. I feel like there might be some competitive juices there.
Well, change the name.
Change the name. Don't make it snubs. Like, even the Rising Stars got the Rising Stars. We didn't call them the young fellas or the young punks or the other
babies.
guys. We called them the Rising Stars. Like, come up with a different name where it won't feel so them versus us, or us on the outside consider snubs as if we're not good enough. If we can change the name, we can change some of the language. I think you'll get a good product out of it.
And it would have to be like a youngish guy, right? It'd have to be, or like someone that's never been there before. Like, I don't think Devin Booker wants to play on the snubs team. He's been a multi-all-star. I think Norman Powell would. I think Jalen Green would. I think maybe even Sabonis would. Like, you know what I mean? But like, I don't think a guy
I disagree, Chandler.
Like, I don't think a guy like Devin Booker said, guy was on the USA gold medal Olympic team this year. I don't think he wants to play on the snub team.
I think it's gonna be some guys that's gonna fight it. But look how Trae Young fight to be in the All-Star game. Like,
Trae Young would have played on the snub team.
Yeah, like, so some of these guys. Yeah, it just depends. I think some of these guys, it's gonna rely a lot on personality. Like D-Book, probably not. But a Trae Young or some of these other guys, I think they will fight for their spot if they weren't legitimate All-Stars to start with.
And let's face it, like, we'd rather watch those guys, the De'Aaron Foxes of the world, play than these rising stars that, again, no offense to them, they are talented. There's some real hoopers there. but we're talking about mega stars that didn't make the game. I'd rather watch them play against the other stars. Like my kids have De'Aaron Fox jerseys, not these young rising stars. You know what I mean? So there's
Do they
always going to
really?
be that. Like,
Wait, your kids really have De'Aaron Fox jerseys? Oh, I was like, oh, that's news, breaking news for the show. Okay, fair enough.
But also, Kenny, I think the biggest complaint from players were just all the breaks, right? And even as a guy watching, like I think there was almost 3 hours of Kevin Hart or, you know, the TNT guys, which is great. There's only 33 minutes or something of actual basketball. Like, do you think this format is a one and done? Do you think they try and tweak it a little bit? Do they go to the USA versus the world? Like, what's the best option, do you think?
I'm excited about the program of switching hands to a new company because I thought it was ridiculous. Like for Adam Silver to tell the guys like we need to take this serious, and then they hired the most unserious person on earth, Kevin Hart, to come out and just make jokes feels weird. Even after the game, Jason Tatum was like, it was cool, but we sat down for 14 minutes and we're back cold again. It did feel weird to only have 30 minutes of basketball, man. Like, at the end of the day, the basketball is the product. It is, I guess, cool to see the biggest YouTuber in the world at All-Star Weekend, or cool to see one of the funniest dudes on earth there. But I was personally there to watch Steph Curry and to watch Jason Tatum and to watch Trae Young go between the legs of Steph. Like, I wanted basketball, and we didn't get that at a basketball event. That's wild to me.
Yeah. It's very weird when you say it like that.
I agree with you. And you know what else? We keep talking about the dunk contest. We talk about the three-point contest. I think Wemby and Chris Paul might have killed the skills competition.
How dare you?
I think somebody finally did it. And Wemby was upset with Anthony Edwards last year for not taking the skills competition seriously. And then him and Chris Paul come out. They don't shoot the shots. They find a loophole in the rules. Yeah. Ended up getting disqualified. But he said this was his idea. This wasn't Chris Paul's idea. I'm not buying. I think this came from the OG. This came from the vet. Now. But Wemby he's taking responsibility for this. Are you buying the fact that this was Wemby's idea, not Chris Paul's?
Man, we got 16 years of Chris Paul shenanigans, man. No way this is Wemby. This is Chris Paul through and through. It is funny though to think about the event being entertainment, and they're like, nah, we want to win this by any means necessary.
Yes.
And taking all of the penalties is so ridiculous that I honestly really liked it. Like, we have never seen something like this before, but I'm also like Chris Paul's biggest fan, so I have to find a way to like it.
You know what's crazy that you say that? Wait, because
go ahead.
No, go ahead, because I'm laughing that Kenny said he's biggest fan. I was always his biggest not fan, and now all of a sudden I'm like, this is awesome. CP's on my side. Woohoo!
He won you over, Beadle. He won you over with some shenanigans.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is they went first, right? Like, they went first in this competition. Yes. This would have stuck. This would the other groups have done the same thing and thrown the
Donovan Mitchell said they would have done it, and then they got disqualified, so they didn't. But he was like, and then he goes, that was basically they cheated. But Donovan Mitchell was like, well, we would have done it too if it would have worked.
Yeah, if it would have counted, why wouldn't you? You're not going to beat them if you're just trying to shoot the jumper. You know, like they would have had to. If they would have done this last and it would have counted, I think it would have caused complete chaos. The fact they went first and got DQ'd was hilarious.
In fairness, could you not make the argument that one shot looked like it was a concerted effort? I mean, it came close. I feel like I would have made an argument.
Chris Paul and Wemby said that they got confirmation beforehand that it was legal. So now we got this big conspiracy on who's lying, who's telling the truth. And a league needs conspiracies like these. This is a good type of conspiracy. Who told them it was legal?
Yeah, who told them I don't know, but watching that in a bar without
somebody,
they had to have. They're not just doing. CP's just not doing that. Like, they had to have been like, so as long as we kind of shoot it, right? Somebody said yes, but I loved it. And it was very confusing without sound. So it took me a while to figure out what just happened. What a moment. We got to talk Joe Mazzulla, because he's become a walking soundbite and did not disappoint during the weekend here as well, because he said that halftimes of all the things should be banned. Kenny, how are you feeling about that one?
It's amazing because I go to a lot of AAU tournaments, and it's basically no halftime at AAU. Halftime is 15 seconds. No coach is saying anything. It's just like get a little breath, because we got another game tipping off on this exact court in 15 minutes. So we need to wrap up this second half. And Joe Mazzulla being so much of a hoop head, it makes it hilarious. But no way if this became a practice, Joe Mazzulla would be behind it, man. Like that halftime is important to get the rest or get the, I mean, y'all in the locker room more than I am, but I'm assuming somebody's giving a pep talk or there's some X's and O's on the board that are important in halftime. But what do I know?
Something. Y'all not go to the bathroom? Like,
I don't know.
Normal stuff?
I don't know how to feel about it because I've literally never played a game without halftime. So I don't know the pros and cons of halftime, and not just something that you adjust to. You find something to do until the coach comes in, and then you're back on the floor. It's not a big deal. So I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, I've never thought about it until he said it. Now I'm starting to think it's just more for fans to use the restroom to go get a drink and not miss the action. Like, because players, I guess, yeah, of course, you catch your breath, you make adjustments, but it's just always been part of the game. So maybe he's genius, maybe he's brilliant, and we're a step behind.
No.
We mentioned Draymond, and he had a lot of hot takes, right? He was very aggressive this weekend. The hottest one being that the Warriors had already offered him the head coaching job when he retires. Chances that this is true, first of all.
0% chance this is true. There's no way. I mean, could Draymond Green be a good coach? I guess so. He's one of the smarter guys in the league. But if he decided to retire this season, they're just going to fire Steve Kerr after all the success he's had this last decade and be like, Draymond is our guy. They've been catering to Draymond for all this time, so maybe that's the case. I think Draymond just be talking sometime, though. I like listening, but I think he just be talking.
Totally agree.
Sometimes I think he forgets the TNT from the podcast. Like they are very different platforms for speaking. So it's like, wait, which one is that? So we have not talked to you since the trade heard around the world, the LUKA trade. Your reaction to that? Like what'd you think immediately?
I thought it was fake, like everybody. I thought Shams was hacked. There's no way. I texted Shams, but obviously he was busy. He didn't even see it, I would assume. And it's one of those trades that like you're going to think back in 20 years and you're going to remember exactly where you were when LUKA got traded to the Lakers. And I was just sitting in bed waiting to go to sleep. And then I got the notification. I hit the group chat with the screenshot and I'm like, really? Texted Shams, no response. And then he responded to himself, said, yes, this is real. So I get out of bed. I go down to my office. I got to go to work. I got to make a video about this trade. And it was like, yeah, the trade heard around the world. We've seen huge trades. We saw Kevin Durant get traded just like 2 years ago. That doesn't even compare to what the Luka Doncic trade really was. And now we're 2 weeks later and we're still seeing people put together articles of what Nico Harrison was thinking about. The reality is he wasn't thinking about anything. There's no way you pull off this trade if you're the other 29 GMs. And here we are, Luka Doncic, no minutes restriction, Anthony Davis out for some time. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, that's the part that probably hurts the most. Kenny Beecham, we've missed you, buddy. We will talk soon. Enjoy the rest of the season.
Thank you. You too.
We'll be right back.